Welcome back to Workshop Wednesday. We're so glad that you've joined us here again. We're probably on episode 5623. I don't know, that sounds pretty good to me, but we are back faithful every week, bringing you content to grow your business. And so super excited for today. We're a little bit late because we just finished an amazing Clubhouse room. If you are not following us on Clubhouse, you are missing out. We had a packed room, so much great conversation, and we just didn't want to interrupt that and it be all weird by bringing them on to our call today with you guys. But we're talking 5 ways to grow your staging business in 2022. So excited. Welcome, ladies. Welcome, Jana.
Hey, good to see everyone. And I'm laughing at us in our tans. Like we didn't even plan, our sweater weather. And we're usually in black, which is hilarious that we all decided to wear the same color today. So
got the memo this morning, I guess. So that's funny. And I even changed because I'm in California. It's 50 degrees here. For a Californian, that's like 30 degrees, really. And I'm freezing. I have the heater and I'm still cold. So I went and changed. So I didn't originally have this color on. So it was like perfect. Jennifer, you guys are in Texas, you and Jana, and Jennifer's sweating and she's ready for more cold air. So it's just a crazy season. But I also think it's a great time to quickly introduce who we are, because we have so many members in this group. So many people. We're almost to the 10,000 member number. And so knowing who we are HSRA, the Home Staging and Redesign Alliance. We exist to build businesses and leaders. Jana up there, she is our fearless founder. She is in charge and created HSRA because she started her staging company, Model My Home, about, I think, are you at 20 years yet? And on Model My Home?
Yeah, we will be getting into 2022. So it's pretty amazing just all that has happened. And it's been pretty quick.
Yes. So Jana is the owner of Model My Home Staging and Redesign in Dallas, Texas. One of the largest staging companies in the DFW, if not the largest. Been in business probably the longest. And so from that, she started HSRA because when she started her staging company, she did not have a business support system. She kind of had to figure it out on her own. Is anybody here? Give me a thumbs up if that's you. You had to figure out like, oh, should I hire somebody? Who should be my first hire? Where do I get furniture? Should I rent a truck, buy a truck? Should I get out of my, storage units? What should I do, right? Guess what, people? That's why HSRA exists. We have the most comprehensive support system you could ever dream of at HSRA. And so, Jennifer, I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, but she has been on both sides of Model My Home and now part of HSRA as our staging business advisor.
Yeah, so I have had the pleasure of working with Jana for the last 2 years, primarily on the Model My Home side. Working with client care services, sales, and then coming over onto the production side and assisting kind of with all levels of the business. So being able to kind of have my hands in the middle of all the STR stuff that we have done over the last 2 years, as well as going through COVID and all of the other amazing things that we have had to have opportunities to expand and stretch and just come completely out of the box. So it has been so great, and I'm so excited to join up with HSRA and to be a resource to you guys as members to help make sure that you know where you can access, because if you have a question, we most likely already have a resource for you, and if we don't have one, we will make sure that one is created. So definitely excited to connect with all of our members and be a resource for y'all.
That's so good. And I'm glad you said that, Jennifer, and you talked about COVID and coming out of COVID. Quite honestly, home staging and redesign businesses are not the way they were 3 years ago, right? And so one of the things that you got to experience coming on is that transition, that pivot from the traditional, what we can call now, right, the traditional home staging company. Now it's a whole different ballgame. And we really took that. Jana really took the idea of pivoting the business to go find the business and be the business through short-term rentals. So today we're talking through 5 ways to increase your staging business in 2022. And so on our list that we compiled when we were talking through this subject, the first thing we have on there, it says STR baby exclamation point. So that is one of the top ways that you can grow your business in 2022 is, are you styling them? Are you prepared? Are you making a profit is the most important thing that I've seen within our staging community, right? So traditional staging is not just, that's not going to cut it anymore. But you don't have to freak out about it, right? So there's so much more you can do. And the short-term rentals are a huge resource for you. Jenna, you want to share a little bit about that, or Jennifer on the short-term rental side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we literally, this was our first year, and Jennifer was part of this. We had a day of short-term rental strategy by itself. You guys know we talk about going into strategy for the new year. Every single end of the year, you've got to be thinking about the next year, planning in advance. And usually that is a day or two that you're going to set aside and get with your team and re-strategize, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what's working, what's not working, set our goals, break those down quarterly. And we literally yesterday came out of a strategy day specifically for short-term rentals. And we've got different lanes. We've got different pieces of that. We actually had 2 other companies involved, 3 other companies involved. And it's unbelievable to know that we are in the right place. We are positioned for greatness when it comes to short-term rentals. And we are planning on 60% of our business in 2022 being focused primarily on short-term rental solutions for our market, but also building our own book of business with our team as well, and individuals that want to get in that, and maybe we're co-hosting together, all of those great things, and investing in properties together. So we're excited about 2022 and that being a big year for short-term rental for us all.
I love that, Janet. And I think we say this so much, but I think that people don't, I think they kind of skip over it. So not only building your business to keep it sustainable, right? And knowing how to style these STRs and how to market to STR hosts and all of that stuff. But Model My Home and some of our member companies are actually investing in, for themselves, short-term rental, and they're allowing their employees to invest in. So when we say we're actually becoming the business, that's that piece of the pie. So it's one way of saying serving the business, and now we're being the business. And Jana is in one of her businesses, right? You want to share a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny because you're absolutely right. Being the business, we are in one of our short-term rentals right now. And it's pretty amazing. It's a lakefront property that we have here. And it's whether it can be, apartments, it can be single families. You guys have the option to build a book of business. We've said it how long? Don't just serve the business, also be the business. So this is why short-term rental is one of our big strategies. This property alone, no doubt, will bring in $10,000+ a month for us, one property. So it's super exciting just to see the opportunities that we have and the math that it actually generates. And you can create multiple streams of income. You guys know we talk about this all the time. How are you building multiple streams of income, not just being, I would say, vulnerable to one? If one stops down, then you still have other flows. So how many flows of income can you create, and they relate to each other, is also a huge advantage.
And by we, HSRA. So those of you that are not HSRA members, these are the types of conversations that we have, along with the support of 100+ business training modules that you get when you become a member. And so knowing really what that looks like and the conversations that we're having if you're thinking about starting a staging business, or you're currently struggling in yours, are you having that conversation with your partner or if with yourself on how can we set ourselves up to have multiple streams of revenue? And STR is like the golden goose right now. It's such an exciting opportunity just on so many different levels. So we love that for sure. Next would be align with HSRA, a support training group, somebody who is there to have the conversations, somebody who is actively pursuing streams of revenue on your behalf. That is what HSRA is doing. That was the 8-hour strategy specifically around home staging. What do we do with that? What are we going to do with this strategy that we have? Well, we're going to package it up and give the information to our members, right? So how important, Jana, would it have been, or what a benefit it would have been to you for starting out to have a support, team like HSRA while you were building your staging business?
Yeah, most people get into this industry, they do some kind of initial training, and we know we're in an unlicensed industry. So there are certain companies that offer a designation, a certification. A lot of people literally just hit the ground running and figured it out on their own. But what I think we realize is it's very hard to take a 2-day class and build a 7-figure business, and know everything that you need to know inside and out. And a lot of that success did take people 10, 15 years to get up to. You've got a few anomalies in that. But typically, to build a 7-figure business, you're putting in a good, 10 years from ground up, not anything that you have bought into or whatever. So we're all about fast tracking that success. It doesn't mean that you don't learn the ins and the outs, but it does mean that you're learning from experts who have been there before. The people that have, like, I think about the Joseph Sips of the world, who we absolutely adore, to be able to build a 7-figure business in a good 3 years. Well, he had HSRA, he had us to help, and he will absolutely say that was no doubt part of the success that we've created. And it is about tapping into the best of the best that do the best of the best, that will teach the best of the best what those strategies are, and collaboration, So do your initial training, find a really good go-to on that initial training, but get plugged in, because as we know, the market changes, information changes, technology changes. The people that were in business typically that kind of did it themselves possibly were on the struggle bus. So you want to get around people that have built teams, that have built 7-figure businesses, that are willing to share with you. And I know, Jennifer, you can only imagine working within Model My Home if we didn't have HSRA to rely on. What does a company like HSRA mean to a staging business?
Oh my goodness, it's huge. And it's so much more than just, having somebody tell you how to stage, because we know that there are some really amazing organizations out there that teach stagers all the basics of staging. But the thing that I really, really love about HSRA is we take it that next step further. And so, yes, we're going to tell you about some staging and we're going to do those things, but we're going to help you build your business, and we're going to help you build yourself as a leader and as a business owner, and help you build your team and help them realize that they have part ownership in your business with you. And so I just absolutely love the fact that business owners have access to that. And from the standpoint of somebody that was working at, with all levels of Model My Home, being able to tap into those resources and have them at your fingertips, being able to jump into that members only Facebook group, or, being able to actually just reach out and get somebody to connect with you when you have a challenge and you can't find that module, but it's got to be there. It's priceless. The value that we add, the connection, the networking, the events, just connection outside of the staging industry, and the things that we're able to touch into, it really is, you can't put a price value on it.
That's so good. And I was going to say too, not only like being successful in this industry, you need support, but you need accountability, right? We all, in any industry. And so the fact that you, Jennifer, as our staging business advisor, check in with our members, take note, and then follow up the next month for a quick check-in with them to see how they're doing. Like, who else does that? Like, that to me, just even knowing like whatever it is, let's just take staging out of it. Say you have a goal and you know someone's going to check in every month, like going to the gym or something, since it's the end of the year, right? If you know that person's going to call you at some point and say, hey, what are your numbers? How many times have you gone? You're going to be more likely to be like, oh man, I need to go, you know, or that just that gentle reminder. And then also having that person saying, hey, like you said, the modules, like, I need to get this module on this training, and I think I might be looking in the wrong place. Quickly, we send it to them. You know, we know where everything's at. And sometimes they just, because we have so many modules, they might just be like, I don't know where to look. But good news is we're always a phone call, a text, or an email away. So amazing. Another reason to align and be around people who are passionate about our industry and passionate about seeing others build their businesses. So speaking of building your businesses, what about expanding your service catalog in general in your staging? What are some ideas around that?
Yeah, going into 2022, there is no doubt that our companies have to modify. We know that there will be more listings coming in this new year, so that's the good news. However, it will not happen overnight. And if you are a single subject matter staging business, meaning I only do this, then that's going to be a challenge, most likely. I would say you've got to go back to the basics, the fundamentals. What do people need right now? They're working from home. They're, not selling as quickly as we want them to. So going back to your design services, going back to some of those consultation and assessment services that you're able to help people. We literally just went in and did a room makeover for someone and charged a bundle fee for that. And they absolutely loved it and said, this is my next room that I want to make over in. And we used our own inventory. It was kind of a surprise on what we were bringing in. They just said, here's my budget. You guys do it. I want you to use your own inventory. And we were able to make that work. And it was such a win-win, right? So there are ways that you can help people now rather than waiting around for homes to sell more and for that business to come. Go out and find it. Ask people what they need. Ask those realtors, what do your clients need now? How can we help them? Going back to some just labor intensive services that don't need a lot of inventory. People are absolutely willing to live in a great space now, and they don't want to do the work. So what are you willing to do that allows that payday and that paycheck and to keep that team working during the time that might not be exactly what we love to do? The business has dried up in one area. You've got to then go back and ask, what can we do to help people now? What are their new needs? We've said that from the beginning of COVID. People just have those new needs. So going back to the basics with your services, I think is a huge thing that we've got to think through. And there are multiple ways that we can help people out of the box, not just our typical traditional, easy methods. Like, it might be time to get your hands dirty, to think differently, and be willing to modify, especially Q1, Q2. If you haven't modified yet, we don't want anyone on the struggle bus. We don't want anyone worried about today and tomorrow. So you've just got to start now by getting creative and making sure you understand what these new needs are.
Which is so good. And you just being open is so important. So are there ways, I know there are, but I'm just asking for our next topic would be, are there ways of expanding your reach, maybe taking your services remote, especially now that, people want to do things maybe via FaceTime instead of in person?
Jennifer, I know that you working with Model My Home, you guys, people call for all types of reasons. How do we, instead of saying, no, we don't do that, what are some ways that we can, serve people not only in our local communities, but outside of those typical areas?
Yeah, so it is definitely doable. And I think I'm thinking back to when COVID first, the first waves of it started coming out March, April 2020, and everything was shut down and we couldn't go into people's houses, but we still had in-home assessments, and we still had review my listing. We still had a lot of things that we needed to do. People had already paid for services, and so we had to pivot.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, you know what? We're going to get on a Zoom call with you, and we're going to have our designer virtually walk through the house with you, and you carry the phone or your laptop or your iPad or whatever, and they're going to hit all the spaces. And if you don't have time to do that, you can take pictures and videos and you can send them and we'll assess them. So we really were able to kind of evolve some of our services at that point, just from the standpoint of being able to do virtual assessments, virtual consultations, those types of things. But also, like you said, going back to your design roots. So thinking about with our short-term rentals, right? Maybe you found hosts or clients, and you're wanting to target the hosts that have already had their units on for 2 or 3 years. How many turns have those units gone through, and how old and outdated is it possible that their stuff is in there? Like, when is the last time that a fresh pair of designer eyes has gone in, or has it ever happened, right? Has gone in and been able to say, you know what, if you just did a little bit, $500, $1,000, let us come in and refresh the accessories and the art and the pillows and stuff, and put kind of a fresh flair on this room. You can do that all virtually. You can create design boards for them. And then whenever they find out that they don't want to go shopping for all that stuff, then they call you back and say, oh, I don't really want to shop for this. Oh, yes, I can. We can put a consultation fee on that. And here you go. We can order that. And oh, did you know we can even come out and deliver it for you? So what starts as a virtual service may evolve into something else. And it allows you to continue networking and building relationships with these people so that you can be their go-to for all their other properties that need to be refreshed. So I think there are so many areas of staging that we are not tapping into because we just haven't thought about it. And I know adversity always pushes us for growth, right? We don't grow in the easy days. We grow in the hard times. So COVID, as bad as it's been, a lot of the things that we have had to endure have pushed us and made us better people. They've made us stronger people, and they've made us better business owners because we've had to think outside the box. And so there's nothing but good things that can come from starting with things like this. So offering remote services, 100% doable, both from the staging standpoint. You could do virtual staging if you want to offer that. But even if you can't physically go out and stage, you can do consultations, you can do design services, and those things can lead to more physical services and greater relationships down the road.
That's so good. Yes. Amazing. I love that. And then the next idea that we have for you is do what we're doing right now. Be the subject expert. Share your knowledge. Get on Zoom. Go live off of your page or in a Facebook group that you host. Let realtors know what you do, how they can do it. Give them an example. Do a walkthrough. Educate them. Become a CE instructor. All realtors have to have CE classes. And so, Jennifer, maybe you can share with us some of the ways that Model My Home takes advantage of being an educator and ways to host realtors to get in front of them, especially going into this new year.
Yeah, that is a giant way for you to build a relationship with your real estate community, is by teaching CE classes. And you can also do that virtually. Model My Home has been teaching virtual CE classes through the whole 2 years of COVID. And so it's all about building education and community. So we need to continue educating, because real estate thinks in some aspects that staging is dead, and we need to make sure that they know that staging is not dead. that it is a viable and extremely valuable part of their marketing package for their properties. And so that is what we need to be doing as subject matter experts within the staging industry. The real estate industry is notifying these realtors that staging is marketing, it's property marketing. And we can do that by hosting these CE classes. We actually have one of our great HSRA members, Kim Dombrowski, who is hosting these CE classes in her warehouse. And she is utilizing that opportunity to actually walk them through her warehouse and give them a real touch and feel kind of experience with a staging company. So think outside the box of how you don't have to just do the typical model of going to the title companies or the mortgage companies. You 100% can do that. But if you have a great space, open up your doors and bring them into your space and teach them, and then walk them through and let them experience how amazing it is to stand in a space that is beautiful and put together, and then let them know, hey, this could be your next vacant property. This is the kind of stuff that we bring in. This is the value that we add to you, as well as the education that you're giving them.
Yeah, and I know, I mean, two thoughts on this, but I know that Model My Home actually has a room of the month. So there's a staged room within Model My Home. But this is kind of a bonus because we had already had a bonus point. But since you're talking about it, Jen, what about if you do have a beautiful space? How can they earn a little extra money on the space that they have by maybe renting that out? I know that we've done that at Model My Home.
Yeah, there is a platform called PeerSpace. That's just one of many. There are several amazing platforms for commercial spaces. And think of all of the people that need a beautiful space for events. Model My Home has primarily hosted baby showers, wedding showers, baby gender reveals. I mean, it's been all kinds of things. But throughout the whole year, you could be hosting your space for meeting offsites, corporate events, especially around the holidays. Think about people that need an amazing space for their holiday parties. But yeah, you are losing out if you have wasted space, right? We talked about no wasted weeks. Well, this is all about no wasted space. So getting your building set up to where you can list that out and make some revenue. If nothing else, it maybe goes towards covering your expenses. That's still applying towards your bottom line. So,
yes, that's so good. And that goes hand in hand. Another type of person who would want that space is social media influencers, right? They need to do 10,000 TikToks, or they want to do, a webinar, or anybody who's an influencer wants to have a great space, right? They want it to look aesthetically pleasing. So that would be another reason why you have the resource. That's what, going back to what Jana says, what resources do you have that are just a normal day-to-day business that maybe you're not using as a marketing tool that you can use? You have trucks. Like, I don't have a truck. So if I want a new piece of furniture, guess what? I either have to have them deliver it and pay for delivery, or I got to go rent a truck. And staging companies have furniture and a truck. So maybe if you're doing a warehouse sale, maybe you offer, for a fee, of course, delivery. Like, there's so many different ways just to open up your mind and think about those things. And so that's super exciting. Jana, you have anything you want to share in addition to?
It's so good. I mean, I love the conversation. I love that we're talking of giving people the ideas. Some of these ideas may be new. Some of them you may have heard before. We know that we are the ones you guys are hearing PeerSpace about, and you're hearing it from us. You're also seeing us live by example. So you've got to definitely tap into these resources that we're telling you that are going to help grow your business in 2022. No doubt about it. This is going to help you find more clients, help you market and network more. So you got to tap into those investors too. I mean, that is a huge, huge opportunity for us, for all of you guys, that, where I would rather earn one client that earns us multiple jobs than have to earn one client that we earn one job. So let's continue to focus on the flow and not just a stopgap and an immediate job right now. I would rather focus on the people that are going to continuously keep us fed and learn how to partner with them as well.
Yeah, and just from this little conversation, I feel like I could give like 10 more ideas, but guess what? I'm going to reserve those for our HSRA members. So, if you want those other ideas, which most of our members know, that we give so much great information. Every Monday we have Monday member motivation and business training. We give little tidbits there, as well as our modules, and just the conversations that we have in our Facebook group is huge. And so I think my biggest takeaway from all of this, just from hearing what you guys are saying and thinking back on what we were talking about, is you have to align yourself with a supportive team, a supportive group, whether that be HSRA or not. We would love for it to be HSRA. We have big plans for 2022. We want to see you grow. There's nothing more satisfying for our team than to get these amazing reports. In fact, in our member publication, I'm just going to name off a few of these people. This is the percent that their company has grown by going through our growth development program, which is for our members. We have Euro Staging grew 180%, and that's in 1 year. That's 180%. You want to talk about growth. Heartland Reveal, she grew her company 50% in 1 year. Staging the Nest, 30%. Classic Staging grew their company 100%. So think about that. The 180 and the 100%. Take what your company is. They doubled their company in 1 year by being aligned with HSRA. And then Transformations by Jill was 50%. That's just these people right here who reported in this publication. But that's how much they grew because, one, they aligned themselves with a supportive team, HSRA. 2, they took the resources that we offer, the 100+ modules, the growth development program, attending our masterminds, and they actually went to them. And I always like to take this as like thinking about when you get a gym membership. You know, I always tell people when I'm talking to them, if you get a gym membership, that's great. But if you never go to the gym, then you're just really throwing money away, right? So all of those people, they use the tools that was there. They use the fitness tools, right, for their business. And they grew. They received gains in their business, in their pocket. Their employees were able to be successful in what they do. And so just aligning yourself and then allowing us to hold you accountable to meet those goals. We were just on Clubhouse. Someone said they want to get 20 short-term rentals in 2022. And I said, I'm going to challenge you. You can do 2. If you can do 20, you surely can do 22, right? It's just 2 more, just 2 more. And I think about when my son was training me, he's a bodybuilder. I figured out this thing where he would, when you give up, when you're at your last rep and your arms are shaking and you're jello, he would always say 2 more, just push out 2 more, right? So then I had to learn, I had to quit earlier. Side note, don't do that. But I had to tell him sooner because I knew he was always going to say just 2 more. You can knock out 2 more. So I believe whatever it is that you have for a goal, a stretch goal, whatever that might be for 2022, I believe you can do 2 more better than whatever that is. Is it 22% more? I don't know, but whatever that is, I believe you can do it if you align with the right people. So great topic today, guys. It was amazing. We had a great clubhouse, a great workshop Wednesday. And guess what? This isn't going to stop. We're going to be back next week, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be a new year next week, so can't wait. And guess what? Don't take your old stuff into a new year. So you got to scrub the brain. You got to clear the clutter. You got to get more focused, whatever that looks like. We literally have a few days left this year to get cleaned up and ready, set, go.
Yeah, so we can't wait to meet you next year. Same place and same time here. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. We're in our comments all day, every day. We're here to help you. I know they put up on the screen the link, myhsra.com, but you can reach out at any time. Like I said, this group is hitting almost 10,000 members. We want to see all 10,000 grow this year coming up. So we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thanks so much.